Today we're making predictions on the MLB trade deadline happening in a couple days. Let's get into it. Welcome to Big League Dreaming, the podcast, a show about baseball, dreams, and family. I'm here with my two brothers today. It's usually a show with all three of us and our dad. Dad's not going to make it tonight, I think, because his Tigers are 1-9 in the last 10. So he said he's in no mood to talk baseball with us today. But I'm here with my two brothers. Let me introduce them quick, and then we'll get into our MLB trade deadline predictions. You know, we're going to go in depth about who we think is going to get traded this trade deadline in a couple days, and we're going to touch base on some All-Star Game, Home Run Derby stuff, and Hall of Fame inductees tomorrow. So let me introduce my brothers. I'm going to start with my older brother, Zach. How's it going, Zach?
It's going great. Our trip to Atlanta was super fun. It was crazy hot. The Fan Fest was super cool. The Futures game was really neat. Got to see a lot of the big prospects coming up. Did not stay for the Home Run Derby, but to be able to watch Cal Raleigh win that with his dad pitching to him and his little brother catching, how special is that? Finally cool to see a Mariner hoist a trophy. Don't get to see that very often. So yeah, good weekend.
Yeah, last time Mariner did that was what? Probably Griffey Jr., right?
Yep, Griffey. Julio had a good showing recently, but didn't win it.
Nice, yeah. I wonder if that's a strategy, because Zane, didn't Bryce Harper's dad throw to him when he won?
Yeah. Yep. Hit him, I
Maybe
think.
maybe that's the new strategy. Yeah, already talking Zane. Let me introduce Zane, my younger brother. What's going on?
Not too much. It's the crazy time of the summer where it's post All-Star break and all the MLB teams are trying to figure out what they're gonna do, if they're gonna buy, if they're gonna sell, if they're gonna do kind of half and half, buy and sell, like buy long term and sell short term, and there's always a lot of rumors floating around, so a lot to talk about.
Yeah, that's right. And you always get some of the teams that just clean house. I know the Mets did it a few years back, and the Tigers have done it. So I'm sure there's going to be a few teams that are going to get rid of some big players because they're just completely out of it. Before we get into the MLB trade deadline and give our predictions, let's talk about this Hall of Fame induction happening tomorrow, right, Zach?
Yep, tomorrow at 1:30 Eastern Time on MLB Network will be the speeches for all of the Hall of Fame inductees. The two guys that were elected by the Classic Baseball Era Committee are Dick Allen and Dave Parker. Those two have passed away, so it'll be a nice memento for those two to be able to induct them officially into the Hall of Fame. And then the three guys that'll be there in Cooperstown, all decked out in their suit, giving their speech in the hot sun that is upstate New York in July, are CC Sabathia, Billy Wagner, and then of course Ichiro Suzuki. The place is going to be crazy. He's the first Japanese player inducted to the Hall of Fame. It's just going to be madness. I mean, Cooperstown induction weekend's always madness, but I feel like first Japanese guy getting in, place is going to be bonkers. It's going to be super cool to watch.
Wasn't Ichiro, because I remember in the winter they said he got in along with Billy Wagner and CC Sabathia. Wasn't his percentage like almost 100 or something?
I think he missed it by like one vote.
Yeah. I think it was, I kind of want to say it was 2 votes. I think Griffey was 1 vote, and then Ichiro missed it by 2 votes.
Ichiro was 99.7%.
I think we need to track down whoever said he shouldn't get in and have them on this podcast to explain themselves. That's what I think we need to do.
Pretty gutsy for them to toss a vote somewhere else because they know Ichiro's getting in.
Yeah. I just looked up here real quickly. Billy Wagner was on the Hall of Fame ballot for 10 years before being elected. So this was his final chance, right? Isn't it 10 years?
I'm pretty sure, yeah. I think you get 10 years on the ballot. Is that right, Zane?
Yeah.
I can look it up.
So
I think so.
Certain.
So the baseball writers were probably like, all right, we got to get B-Wag in here. This is the year we got to all vote for him.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Billy Wagner was in his 10th and final year of eligibility. So yeah, you get 10 years, and you gotta get so much percentage each year, or else you fall off the ballot.
That's right.
I think it's like 5% or something.
Otherwise, you get knocked off.
Yeah, otherwise they just pull you off of it.
So yeah, that's cool that he got in his last year, and then the CC. I don't know what number year he was in. I feel like he hasn't been on it that long, right?
That was his first year as well. Him and Ichiro were both first.
Was it really?
First ballot Hall of Famers, yep.
I wonder who's going to go first. Who do you think they're going to make? Do they do alphabetical or?
I imagine they'll probably he'll probably go in probably a year of retirement, I'd imagine. I mean, but CC and Ichiro, they'll probably save Ichiro for last, but they could save CC for last because he finished his career in New York, right?
Yeah,
So
home state guy.
I just looked up here. It says Ichiro Suzuki will be the first speaker during the MLB 2025 Hall of Fame induction ceremony. He's the headliner.
So set your clocks. Make sure you tune in right at 1:30 so you don't miss Ichiro.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, well deserved. I mean, didn't he win MVP and Rookie of the Year in his rookie season?
Yep, 2001, won them both.
Yeah, that's tough to do.
I saw a stat where he has the highest lefty batting average. It's like career, like 320 he hits against lefties.
That's
The
crazy.
Mariners posted a thread of like 8 crazy Ichiro stats, and that was one of them. If you're a Mariner fan, everybody just loves Ichiro. He was just so dynamic in his time, so different for him to come over and make that impact right away, pave the way for Japanese players. So definitely tomorrow will be a special day for Mariner fans.
I remember in the summers, like all three of us, like just watching Mariners games late at night because it'd be bedtime and that's when they'd play. And I remember just seeing him play, like go on these crazy hit streaks or like go for all these hit records. Or I feel like we were always watching Ichiro try to set some sort of record or keep a hit streak going. And I feel like he always find a way to get like a hit no matter what, even if it was just like an infield single.
Yeah, he was so fast, and he's getting out of the box so quickly. Here we go. Ichiro actually hit better against left-handed pitching, 329, than right-handed pitching, 304. The batting average versus lefties is the highest on record for a lefty batter. Split data is complete going back to 1974.
That's crazy.
Crazy.
I wonder why. Because he had that like little running start too, so you would think the ball would go away from him.
He's also probably hitting it way out in front of the plate before it breaks.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. So
Yeah, I'm excited.
Tomorrow will be a good day for baseball fans all around to check out the speeches from everyone. CC, Ichiro, Billy. Be a good day. So let's get into our next part of the show and let's talk about the trade deadline, right? It's happening Thursday, right?
Uh-huh.
Thursday,
July 31st.
Yes, and it ends at 6 p.m. Like we said at the beginning of the show. This is when we'll see all the big moves. It's almost like an off season in a way. Like when you get all the big moves in the off season, like out of nowhere, it's kind of like a second off season almost with all the moves we'll see. What kind of predictions do you guys have? I know I was talking to Dad earlier. I know I kind of made fun of him in the beginning, being bummed about his Tigers. He's actually just had a long day, so he couldn't join us. But he did tell me that the Tigers were in need of a bullpen desperately. He said that their bullpen's been bad the last few weeks.
Yeah, their bullpen's been struggling a little bit, and Schoolwood can only do so much. I mean, their offense is taking a little bit of a hit too. So, we'll see. The Tigers are probably bound to make a move at some point, whether it's for extra pitching. We'll see if they make a move with the Guardians and Emmanuel Clase. I know there's talk about the Guardians moving him. There's a lot of really good relievers out there on the market. That it's just relief pitchers are so weird, right? Like it's such a unique role that like they don't get the praise as much as a starting pitcher or like a position player. The Tigers could trade for a name that not a lot of people know, and then be like, oh, who's that guy? And really he's a stud, just a under the radar guy. Then that's kind of what they need, and that's probably what they'll go after.
Yeah, you're right. I did see that in some stories that the Guardians might give up Clase, but I wonder why, because they're still kind of in it, right? I mean, they're in second place, I think.
Yeah, but I mean, the Tigers have kind of that 8-game lead, and even like they can go on a 1-9 skid and still have an 8-game lead in the division. And then the wild card is so tight right now with the Yankees, the Red Sox, Mariners, the Rays are right there. But they're only 2 games out of the wild card, so that's what I'm saying. Of like, people at least I know I get really frustrated with the Red Sox because I'm like, there's moves that need to be made, just make them. But like, it's so easy for us fans to sit here and be like, why aren't they just making a move now? Why are they waiting till the last minute? Well, it's because teams like the Guardians, the Royals, even the Angels, right? Like the Angels looks like they're 4.5 back of the wild card, right? They're probably waiting until the very end to see, okay, where are we at? Are we willing to trade away some pieces and, set ourselves up for next year, or do we want to really make a push for a playoff spot and potentially a run this year? So like that's why it always comes down to the last minute. A lot of these teams are really waiting to see where they actually stand, going into July 28th, 29th, 30th.
Yeah, because that could be the difference. I mean, it's still a week away. You're right. You're right, and that's 6, 7 games. It's a lot of games still that they could be in a completely different spot, especially if you're pushing for that wild card spot. So that's a good point. I'm seeing here on this article I pulled up, Michael Soroka. Does that name ring a bell to anyone? Looks like that's who the Tigers might be going after for their bullpen guy. Like you said, Zane, a kind of an under the radar guy, right?
Yeah, Soroka's not bad. He could help them out a little bit. I believe who's he on? He's on no, not the Nationals, right?
Let's see. Starter
Zach,
for the Nationals.
By the way, I don't know.
I think starter for the Nationals.
Yeah, he's on the Nationals. But Soroka's having a decent year. He's okay. He's got like a 5 ERA this year. But, it should be interesting if they try and go after him. He's kind of been on a few different teams the last couple years. Was hurt in 21 and 22, but having an okay year. Could be a guy that, that's the other thing too, is a lot of teams got to figure out is like, what are they willing to give up for these other pieces, right? Like,
yeah.
The name Eugenio Suarez keeps getting thrown out there, former Whitecap, former Tiger. I remember seeing Eugenio Suarez play for the Whitecaps, and, he's the name that keeps getting thrown out of getting traded, but, the Diamondbacks might not want to get rid of him. They're only 5.5 back of a wild card spot. So they could make a push. And if they think holding on to Suarez is that piece that they need to make that push, like their window could be closing. Same thing with Zach Gallen from the Diamondbacks, a pitcher. So I know all those guys are getting close to their deals being done and going into free agency. So, do you want to set yourself up for post Gallen and Suarez, or do you want to, go for it all while you have them on your roster?
Yeah, right. I know. I keep seeing his name come up too when I'm looking up articles and stuff. He's kind of the main headline almost in a lot of these. Is like, is he going to go somewhere or not?
Yeah, he's kind of the top hitter that's out there and being talked about of getting moved. And that I think the Yankees are one of the big ones.
Yep.
And it's interesting because you have a lot of teams where it's like you want them to make moves, but a lot of these wild card races are so tight, and even teams like the Athletics and the White Sox, right? They're not going to want to part ways with what they have that's doing well for them now because they see a future beyond 25, right? Like the A's aren't. Everyone's going to probably want Mason Miller to come in and help their bullpen, but the A's probably see what they have coming up through the system and are like, hey, our windows next year and beyond. Like, we need Mason Miller next year. We're not going to entertain your talks because we need that guy next year. We don't care that you need him this year.
Yeah, Eugenio, I mean, I'm looking his stats up right now. He's got 36 home runs this year.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's if the Diamondbacks should get rid of him.
Well, I heard that the Mariners might be looking at bringing Eugenio back.
Is that true, Zach?
Yeah, that's apparently that's the Mariners' number one target is Eugenio Suarez.
Really?
Yeah. Now, it would be super cool. Like, Gino was awesome in the clubhouse, like good vibes and all that. It'd be super fun to have him back on the roster, but to kind of offload him how they did to save some money, and then he goes off offensively like this, like he would not have put up these numbers in Seattle this year. I think since he's kind of the number one target, like you guys were saying, Mets and Yankees will probably give the Diamondbacks a huge package, a huge offer for Suarez. I don't know if the Mariners would match that or beat that to get him. I think it's a lot more likely that they try to go for Suarez, but they just pivot to Josh Naylor, who Naylor is another corner infield bat, which is what they essentially need. He can play first base every single day for the Mariners, which is a position of need for the Mariners, and he doesn't strike out. And that's a big thing that has been really difficult for the Mariners to overcome the last few seasons, is their strikeouts are just through the roof. So to be able to bring a guy like that into your lineup, really lengthen it, and give you some production offensively at a much cheaper cost than it will be for Suarez, I think the Mariners will probably go for Naylor. I would love to add him to the team. Um, but the Mariners have 9 of the top 100 prospects, and they just added Cade Anderson with the 3rd overall pick, the ace from LSU. And he's going to easily be in the top 100 prospects at the next update. The Mariners have the deepest farm system. They can beat anybody's trade offer. It's just a matter of if they're going to do it or not.
Yeah, and that's just the interesting part, and the part that people don't really consider as just casual baseball fans, is how much deeper all these trades actually are once you start talking about trading prospects and everything that goes into it. Even the Tigers, right? Like the Tigers have what I think 6 or 7 of the top 100. Like they have a good amount of top 100 guys too. Like people are going to come asking for those guys if you got a deal, a really good player and a really good pitcher that they're looking for. So, are the Tigers willing to part ways with some of those top prospects? I know the Red Sox parted ways with some top prospects in the offseason, and they got him Garrett Crochet, and then now they locked him up for a long-term deal, so that works out for him, but now they don't really have anyone to pair with him. So that's where the Red Sox are at, is they need another frontline starter to follow up Crochet, because right now, if Crochet's set to throw in a series, you pretty much lock in a win in that series. You're not going to get swept because Crochet's going to throw. The Red Sox went on their hot streak, and then the All-Star break hit, and they come out, play the Cubs, and a really good lineup, and the Cubs are another one to watch too. Like, we'll see what moves they make. They're going to probably want some more pieces. That's going to be a team to really, really watch going into the postseason. I think the NL Central race is going to be crazy at the end of the year. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch the NL Central between the Cubs and Brewers and who's going to win the division. And even the Reds, because the Reds are kind of pushing for a wild card spot. So the NL Central is going to be a lot of fun at the end of the year. So,
Milwaukee.
Yep, Milwaukee, the Cubs. Like I said, the Reds are right there. Even the Cardinals. The Cardinals aren't terribly far behind. The Cardinals are right behind the Reds in the wild card race. So, there's a lot of factors here that come into play when we're talking about trades and making a final push for the postseason. Like, there's only so many teams you can really talk to and really deal with. I think it's really like the Marlins are probably a team that's going to look to move pieces. The Pirates, we'll see. I know everyone likes to throw Skeens out there, but are they going to really want to trade away a generational talent? I don't know. The Nationals and Rockies, but what do those people really have to offer outside of, the Nationals got some really good young pieces. Are they going to really want to move any of them? Probably not.
Right. Yeah, I think it's interesting what you said. Like, there's so much more to these trades than people realize. When you said that, it made me think of last year around this time, the trade deadline. I think me and Dad were talking when the Tigers got rid of Flaherty, and we're like, did they even get, who'd they get? We're like, who'd they get? Is it worth it? And they got that Lorenzo guy, and we're like, who is this guy? I saw him play at the Whitecaps a couple times, and he looked like a young Victor Martinez. He was hitting bombs over that deck, and it's like, whoa, who is this guy? So I think that's what's really fun about the trade deadline is you start seeing these names pop up that get traded, and you just kind of think, minor league, or the casual fan would say, I don't know, they got some minor league guys, but it's actually fun if you look to see who they actually got, because it's usually someone really good.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to seeing how many top prospects get moved next Thursday at the trade deadline, before the trade deadline. It's been the last few years, probably like 2-3 seasons now, it's been a little bit different in that a lot of teams and organizations are really they're really hanging on to their top 100 guys. It's becoming a lot rarer for teams to trade their top prospects. I mean, it still does happen, but it feels like they're more willing to do kind of bulk deals of guys that are just outside the top 100. because I don't know what it is. These last couple of years, we're hardly seeing any big top 100 prospects get traded, and it definitely wasn't like that in the past. You're trading some big names in order to get these big names, big name prospects. I mean, but it just feels like the last few seasons, teams have really clung on to their top 100 guys. So I'm interested to see what will happen over the next few days here at this trade deadline to see if that continues or if things get shook up this year and we see some big name prospects get moved.
Yeah, well, I wonder if a factor to all of this and the shift within the way front offices are viewing their prospects and the way they're holding on to them and the way they're structuring their farm systems and how they're graduating their guys is a lot of the changes to the CBA for, you get extra picks if your guy comes up and does really well and wins rookie of the year. Also, when the Braves kind of set the tone of bringing up, Ozzy Albies and Acuna and signing them to team-friendly deals and locking them in for, a super long time, our front office is now viewing that as kind of the new game plan of like, hey, we have something really good. If we can lock them in for 10 years, we can be set for the future. Like, is that kind of what's sort of changing the way front offices are operating a little bit? And I think it kind of does play a factor with the way the Braves have kind of operated in the last 5 to 6 years.
Yeah, we're seeing other teams do that as well. The Brewers just gave Jackson Chourio that huge deal extension before he even stepped foot on a major league field for the first time. It's definitely
Colt
happening more
Keith.
and more. What's that?
They did that with Colt Keith too, didn't they? The Tigers.
Did they give him a longer contract?
I think they
I don't
did.
know. I don't think they did. If they did, I missed
Yeah,
it.
Colt Keith signed a 6-year, $28 million contract extension.
Yes, this is what I'm talking about, right? Like the Tigers signed Colt Keith he signed through 2029, 6 years, $28.64 million.
Yeah.
Like that's,
Yeah,
I think that's
when he
kind of
was
the
still
new
in the
model
minors.
that a lot of these front offices are trying to go to is not necessarily trading them, but even then, like if you lock them down, like that's still an enticing piece to go after, right? Like that's still like a friendly contract that, if a team wants to part ways with that guy, all right, like it's not a huge contract that the team they're trading with has to take on.
And that gives the player more value, right? They're more valuable because I'm going to trade for this guy. I'm going to acquire this guy, and I know I have him through 2029 on a cheap deal. So it's going to cost you more capital to acquire a player like that. Teams are looking at it from that lens as well. However, the Braves are getting older, and Ozzy Albies is not having a good year, and Acuna has been hurt a lot. And when he is playing, he's the best player in baseball. Um, so we're kind of seeing that whole concept come up on the back end, and the Braves are struggling this year. I mean, they signed Austin Riley; he's not having a great year. Um, so it just goes to show you there's not one way to do this. And there's not one way to coach a baseball game. And you're going to have different coaches with different styles, and you're going to have different front offices with different styles. Of course, a lot of that is, driven by what kind of financial constraints or availability, flexibility each organization has. But it makes things very interesting how every team kind of operates differently and what makes the trade deadline so fun.
All right, before we wrap it up, guys, any final predictions on Eugenio Suarez, the big name in this trade deadline prediction show? Where's he going to end up at, Zane?
Personally, I think this is going to be the most hyped up trade deadline where not much happens. I think
I could see that. I could see that.
I think there's just going to be so many rumors, so many different things flying around. And I think, I was thinking about this earlier with like how tight races are in the wild card, like adding that extra wild card spot gives so many more teams that glimmer of hope that it also narrows like how many teams you can work with that are willing, teams that are selling. Like it muddies those waters of who's selling and who's buying. But also I think what else is coming into factor here is the balanced schedule that they introduced a few years ago, right? Like you're playing a very balanced schedule. So like everyone's getting the same amount of games against the Rockies and the White Sox of the world. You're not just playing your division overloaded, and beating up on each other. It's a very balanced schedule. I think that's why these races are so close, and that's what I was thinking about earlier today when I knew we were going to hop on here was, I think there's just going to be so many teams that are aren't going to want to budge on their own side that I don't think as many deals end up going through.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that for sure.
Suarez does not get traded.
Yeah, I would not be surprised if the Diamondbacks don't even make a move. Just I could see them going out. I haven't looked at their schedule. I don't know who they have coming up going into the weekend. I have no clue. But if they rattle off 5 straight wins, they're going to be like, we're not getting rid of anyone. We want to add people.
So they won't be getting rid of Naylor.
Probably not.
Oh, we'll have to wait and see. Zach, any final predictions?
I say Suarez to the Yankees.
That'd be tough.
Yankees. Oh, gosh. When are the Yankees just not going to be in it anymore?
The
I
day
feel like they're...
stops batting 380.
Yeah, seriously. Well, I think Suarez is going to go to the Brewers.
Whoa.
That'd be wild.
It's my bold prediction. That big NL Central race you were talking about, Zane. I think he's going to go to the Brewers. He'll hit some bombs there.
That'd be fun.
So we'll have to wait and see. Thursday, right?
Yep, Thursday. Yeah.
All right, everyone make sure you tune in to the trade deadlines. Maybe some of the trades have already happened, probably not. Tune into the speeches tomorrow, right? The Hall of Fame inductee speeches. Any last words, guys?
No, I mean, I think it's winding down. It's crazy. It's crazy how fast the season goes, how fast the summer goes. We're pushing into August, and it's going to be September, October soon enough, and it's going to be the end of the regular season. And I think it's going to be a crazy push to the finish line. There's going to be a lot of teams in it going into the last 14 to 15 days of the regular season. It's going to be a wild ride to the finish line just to get to the postseason. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Maybe we'll go live Thursday night and break down all the trades. Or if there's no trades, like Zane says, we just won't go live.
I just don't think there's going to be as many huge blockbuster trades that a lot of people are thinking might happen.
Skeens is staying, bottom line.
Yeah, for sure.
Skeens is going nowhere. All right, well, thank you, everyone, for tuning into this episode of Big League Dreaming the Podcast. If you want to check out more of our podcast, we're on YouTube, Big League Dreaming the Podcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. We come out with episodes on Saturdays, and leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. Who's going to get traded this trade deadline? Make your predictions before it happens. We'd love to chat with you, and we will see you all on the next one.